to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
Good afternoon to good people. Good afternoon to the bad people, friends, and enemies. We take enemies too. And good afternoon, boom, shakalaka to you all. I am Chris Base. BaseLine. We congregate when we do this every Friday. That's 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Always wanting you to be well where you are. See, venture out to the comment section. Hello, Barbara Jean. Barbara Jean, of course, is doing the great thing about, of course, being, of course, on well, first of all, doing, of course, the YouTube channel, which is great. Trying to build, and only need you to do that to help build it. So the YouTube channel, the Chris Base channel, with the period, and then the channel is all one word. Subscribe, like, and share. Barbara Jean is saying that it's Friday. Also that, of course, catch the show on Facebook Live. Let's see. Hello, Chris. Have no fear. Happy Friday, buddy. Omar is here. How you doing, Omar? Thank you for being here as always, man. How you doing? How's your Friday coming along? Let's see here. As we continue on. Now you see this honey tree question and answer. This is Gus here. So Gus finally made it back into the comment section. Welcome back in, Gus. You know, Gus will call in as well. But he finally got in here. So how you doing, Gus? Good to see you, doctor. Thank you for being here. Omar, and by the way, nice shirt. Thank you very much. Your public enemy gotta fight the powers that be. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to one Stick Diggy. How you doing, Stick? Thank you for being here. That we're all getting our thoughts and minds together as we free our mind here. You know, it was funny because I was talking to a friend of mine recently, and she was telling me she's been in radio as long as I've been. I know my good friend since our days in college, studying radio. And she was telling me about WVON, the station here in Chicago. And Barbara Jean can maybe chime in on this as well, because the whole thing about callers and how callers over there have at one point had taken over the shows. Now, here's what I mean by that. Traditionally, and myself coming from brick and mortar, terrestrial radio, there is a lane between the callers and the host. The callers stay in their lane, the host, and the callers come in with the question or comments, whatever. And over at WVON, I don't know about recently, but this is the time, I guess, before they had a change in management styles. The callers would be on literally every show. So, for example, whoever's hosting mornings, hear the callers, be on the callers, on host and everything else, blah, blah, blah. And then the midday show will come on. Same callers from the previous program. Afternoon show, same calls. So you get my drift. So I don't know, they have no life, but apparently they weren't doing good screening over there at the radio station. So I haven't heard recently. I haven't heard WVON literally in years. I stopped listening to terrestrial radio a long time ago, in general. But the whole thing with host and callers, that's a pet peeve of mine as well, because you are the host. It doesn't say host and caller show. It's the name of the host, wherever the host is. And I think certain callers just get happy. And don't get me wrong, in this situation, I don't blame the callers all the way to a degree, because it's the WVON station's fault for a lot of these calls to come on there all the time. So if you are a radio station and you're trying to get new callers, how can you if the same person is going in all the time? They call in all the damn time. So if they hear Betty and Big Mama Thornton and Big Fred, Willie Toe, whatever the fuck, if they keep hearing those people, why the hell should I call in? So they don't screen and they don't do well. One person suggested about giving the callers their own show. No, 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 don't do that. That's too much power for that caller uh, to have because they already feel that they're the co-host anyway. Why would you give them a program? That makes no sense to me whatsoever. That's a hearty hell nope. Let's see. We say sick, yeah, boy, yeah, Flavor Flav, yeah, Chuck D and Terminator X. Yeah, love that group. One of my favorites of all time. Let's see. Barbara Jean, I now only listen to Rufus Williams because I got tired of the same callers, same comments, disrespectful callers, hosts that allow rude guests, etc. Yeah, I'm not cool with that type of style. And to allow it to happen and to manifest itself, again, if the host does not check the caller, then they just keep on doing what they're doing, what they're doing. I'll tell you the story. So I think I told you before, but and you know how it is. He engaged me for people that I heard it for the first time, or not heard it, but not going to hear it for the first time. So I'm doing baseline at WBON. At the time, it was airing from going into Monday morning, midnight to 2 a.m. And I preceded a show. The show that preceded mine was a sports program. My good friend Keith Reed. So it's Keith Reed's sports show. He was on from 10 p.m. to midnight. I was on from midnight to 2, and then they were trying to build up local programming, which I'm all a favor for. So that was nice, and I'm glad to be a part of it at the time. So they were bringing in a new host to come on after me from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. So I'm on from midnight to 2. 2 to 4 was the next slot coming on after me. Excuse me. So program director told me that, yeah, we're going to start this new guy. Could do me a favor and sit in with him on his first show, because he's nervous and everything else. I said, okay, cool. So I was on my show, once again, got off at 2, and then I didn't go anywhere, so I stayed for the new guy's voyage show, his maiden voyage, and it's 4 a.m., time for me to go. I shook his hand, wished him luck. Then he said, will you be here next week? I said, yeah, I'll be here. I'll be doing my show, and you come on after my show. No, I mean in the studio with me. No. No, I shan't and shan't not. No, I will not be in the studio with you. As I stated before, for the cheap seats, I do my show, from midnight to 2, and you come on from 2 to 4. What am I going to talk about? I'm gonna let that marinate for a couple of seconds. While that's marinating, let me go on and read Barbara Jean's next comment here in the peanut gallery. Rufus always has respectful guests and doesn't entertain knuckleheads that are disruptive and argumentative. Yeah, hooray for Rufus, because and again, when you empower these knuckleheaded callers, you get that type of crap. Let's see. What do you say, Barbara Jean? The midday host dedicated brown skin to Mayor Brandon Johnson, and that was the last I listened to that show. I understand. So the guy asked me, what am I going to talk about? What the entire hell? What the entire blue hell and what the entire fuck are you talking about? I don't know. What should I do? I can't make this stuff up. I could. This is much more fun. The truth is much more fun. I said, brother, could you give me any advice? Now, mind you, he's supposed to be a talk host himself. He doesn't know what to do for his very next year. No idea. I said, okay, let me do my good deed for the night. Get a legal pad. Start watching the news. Start taking notes. Form an opinion or opinions of the stories you follow. And then you go from there. And then you go from there. That was that, okay. So I get a call from the program director later on that day, because mine is early Monday morning. So like Monday, I don't know, around 10, 11, something like that in the morning. Chris, can you do us a favor, meaning the management? The boss wants you to train this host. Then why did you hire this person in the first place? See, I'll get to it in a little bit why this happened. I said, okay, go back and tell the boss I'll train him if you pay me extra. Why? Because I have taught on a collegiate level. I also co-wrote the talk radio curriculum at my alma mater, Columbia College Chicago, with my colleague, Cheryl Langston. So yes, compensate me for. Yeah, wait. Hold on a second. Duty calls when it comes to the house here, so I'm back. So I told the program whether you have to pay me on this one because I've taught radio before and I got to be compensated for it. Okay. Next thing you know, they fire the guy at 2 a.m. and I was also fired too. Hold on. We both were fired. Say what? Yes, yeah, that's a true story. Yeah. Barbara Jean with laughing emojis. He wasn't ready to become a talk show host. Correct. What was management thinking? Well, and Barbara Jean said, that sucks. You know where it was at? WVON. This is where it happened at. And let me go deeper as a deep dive into this conversation. The person they hired to come on after me was a guy named Coach. Coach was a caller to WVON. Coach called in, now mind you, Coach called in, as I was told, to various WVON programs. They liked his swagger. They liked him a lot. He was on all these programs. People talked about him. So I guess he has some sort of ground swelling support, or ground swelling people that follow him. So in the infinite wisdom of management, they called him in to the office of WVON management and talked to him about giving him a show. And they gave him a show with no talk experience whatsoever. None. None. Left hand, right hand, ball head to God. I seem to remember that hot mess. Barbara Jean was a hot mess from hell. Hot mess from hell. And again, all you have to do is the right thing. But if you don't know what the right thing is, you get crap like this that had happened. Now, mind you, I was nowhere near the conversation whatsoever. That's not my fault. You hired somebody with no experience, yet I get hit. Now, what if I would have said yes? I would have said yes to, for example, helping this dude and not getting paid. A talk show listener doesn't magically become a talk show host. Barbara Jean, in this situation, it happened. But then again, we're talking about WVON here. So, and how did that disaster turn out? Stick Diggy asked. You know what? I have no idea after that because I was let go. I had no idea whatsoever. And once again, I was just, I was just so pissed that I got fired for just saying something basic as you have to pay me. If I didn't know anybody, this is my take on the whole thing. Looking back on it, I think management realized they fucked up, that they made a mistake, and instead of saying I'm sorry, I get hit for it. I know it's sick behavior. That's why I said people like that should march them asses right back to hell. They really should. But instead of saying I'm sorry, I made a mistake, and to get rid of coach and to keep moving forward to find actually somebody qualified for that position, let's fire his ass too. Now, maybe there's some stuff that I'm not privy to, but that was just my guess on the whole thing. I gave up watching Mission Impossible to listen to your broadcast. Oh, well, thank you, Barbara Jean. I gave up watching Mission Impossible to listen to your broadcast. Thank you. That's our competition with Mission Impossible. Dun 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 dun. Greetings, Base Nation. Can management think? Good question, Sig. Thank you, Jed. I'll say this from my 30 years of being in the business, the majority, of course, working in terrestrial radio, I come across some of the most dumbest ass management styles, you want to call it that, ever. I don't get that at all. You always hear the whole adage about common sense not being common. It doesn't exist anymore. It was eradicating back then, as far as I was concerned, in radio. It was, I mean, erosion of the mind, insane in the membrane, just gone. I mean, the stories I can tell make your head spin. But I'm not trying to bring down my own program. I'm just making a fact here. But when it comes down to callers and host, it's there's a reason why the host is the host and the caller's a caller. You know my pet peeve. I can do what you do. You know my pet peeve. If you want to fight, we're going to fight. It's just that simple. And then you get the people who say, don't take it seriously. Well, of course I take it seriously. It's what I do. Of course I take it seriously. It's in my DNA. I would never have the audacity to tell a construction worker, a lawyer, a doctor, even a person who cleans the streets, I could do your job. Or I could do what you do. I would even never part my mouth sideways to even get the words out. But because it's conversation, because it's words, and people are talking, oh yeah, I could do that. Oh yeah, sure. Yep. And that's been my thing ever since. Even when I called into radio stations, I knew not to take over. When I called into talk radio, because now, see, I told you when I was 19, I wanted to get into talk radio. But I never, ever thought about trying to take over a show during that time. Now, see here in front, there have been times my ego got in front of me when I would get into radio and I was whatever the role was and try to take over. That was wrong on my part in my early years. My thing was to try to get noticed. But there's a wrong way to do it and a right way to do it. In the early days when I was trying to do that, and sometimes I didn't know I was doing it. I just because of the fact that you can sit in with somebody and you overtalk a person, things like that. I did that before. So I admit to that. And I've learned from my mistakes. And so when you do that, you find a way, okay, so let me not do it that way. That's wrong. Let me do it this way. But again, there is a respect factor that should be there. Let's see. Barbara G, I'm still scratching my head over DL, meaning with DL Hughley being given 5 to 7 a.m. Rufus had 6 to 9. So when does Rufus come on? 7 to 9? I mean, you said had. So, well, my guess is something like that. It's hard to guess over at WVO, man, because they once let me say this without being too rude, because I know the new program director over there. He's a great brother. I wish him well. I really do. I just hope that management does not handcuff him in his ideas. I hope not. Having said that, D.O. Hughley is a name. He could probably helpfully draw a bigger audience. There's no offense to Rufus Williams. So from that perspective, I can see. But what's interesting is that D.O.'s program is from the afternoon before. He's on afternoon with syndicated through, I believe, Reach Media. So that's just my guess. I hope they don't phase out Rufus, but from my experience, that's what it could sound like. It could be that. I'm wishing. I never met the brother. I know of him. I wish him well. But with industry being what it is, and that type of management style being over there, more so ownership than management. Let me clarify that as well. Um, we'll see. We'll definitely see. So Robert Jean Tice Rufus has been reduced to 2 hours a day. Okay. Got to hang on to that too. Got to hang on to it, because he could be excommunicated. I'm not once again wishing it on the brother, but we'll see. When you do stuff like that, you're pretty much out the door. I hope to hold on to him. Once again, from what I've known of Rufus, I think he has a very good following. But we will see. What value does D.L. Hughley, D.L. Being on VO1, if Rufus leaves, I'll be done. Well, you'll be done then, Barbara Jean. You have to take into consideration that sometimes it may not make sense to you, but it makes sense to them, meaning the people at WVON, or else it wouldn't make the move in the first place. But they'll see. And while I was talking to my friend about this, another thing came to mind. So when I did CBI, one of the great people I had on the program, a lady named Turi Ryder, TURIRYDDER, not two D's, but just D. I'm making sure the D. Turi Ryder, one D. And I worked with her periodically when we were at WLS FM, and she was on from 6 to 10. And so when she was on, great conversationalist, she only had one rule. And her one rule was like, and don't say, and one more thing if you're the caller. Here's why. When you're dealing with radio from the standpoint of talk radio, morning, afternoon drives are pretty much fast paced because of the drive itself, and because of the fact that you have a lot of commercial spot loads. So the callers don't get a chance to really talk a lot. They'll talk it, very quick, and got to move on to the next caller. Now, from 6 p.m. on, the pace slows down a little bit. So you have more time to talk. And so from Terry's perspective, and I started to get this as I became a host myself, when you're on the call or on the show with the host, for example, Terry have a caller who's on to say about 5 minutes. That's a long time for a talk radio caller. That's a long time. That's eternity for 5 minutes or more. That's eternity. 5 to 6 that's great. And then at the end, the person said, "Oh, and one more thing." Ain't no one more thing. You've been on for fucking 5 minutes. You've been on for 5 minutes. Why would you dare say in one more thing? That was her rule. She told you up front, please do not say in one more thing. Because she, the host, did not have to give you all these minutes. It may not seem a lot of minutes to the average person, but in the world of talk radio for a caller, That's a lot of time. It really is. I remember when I started to do talk radio myself, and I had a certain rule myself, but I think I had to express it more. For example, the host always has the last word. It's just what it is. Maybe other programs do it differently. I'm telling you how I was raised in talk radio. The host, no matter who they were, always had the last word. It's their show. Again, it's not the host and caller show. It's the host, whatever their names are. So when I say, for example, I was on the radio, and one more thing before we part company, that's your cue to know that it's time to go. So I would say that, and I have a holdover here when I do it here. Oh, before we part company. So that's my way. But yeah, my attention span takes a hit when callers are long winded. Barbara Jean. Well, that's a Barbara Jean. That's a catch-22 because you want your calls to be long-winded, or else you won't have a conversation at all. And some people have to go to a certain point, cadence-wise, to get to their point. Some people just can't come out the gate with their points. It depends on the person themselves, how they think. So, for example, if you look at a person's writing, how they write or how they type is traditionally how they talk. So, if you see a person online on social media and they're typing and they have like a run, they have like a run on sentences. There's no period, no exclamation points, no question marks, no nothing. That's pretty much how they talk. They talk fast to the point where even when they're typing is how they talk. Yeah, that's usually how it's done. How you doing, Rachel? Parting words, right? Well, look, she know this is the person I was talking about. Had the conversation with about WVON and the callers, all that stuff going on over there. And right, and so like I said before, when I was on radio, when I would tell the caller before we part company, and I had to make an announcement about it, but maybe I should have. But when I was working at talk radio back at WLS AM and FM, the caller usually got the hint, so I wouldn't have to repeat it. I wouldn't have to go on air with the announcement. Well, Terry was great with the announcement in the beginning of the show. Before we do the show, I got one rule: if you say, and one more thing, I'm gonna cut you off, and as I explained to you during this conversation here. Let's see. Thank you, Rachel, for being on here as well. Barbara Jean, some callers appear to have a faulty off button. Well, yeah, that too. If some callers weren't so long winded, perhaps other callers will be able to call in. See, we don't know the dynamic. I do not. A WVM callers how it works from the standpoint of callers calling into the station, wait time, and things like that. I'm not privy to that side. I don't know. And again, it's up to the host. It's a juggling act to not just take the callers to see what they can to contribute to. Usually, again, you have people like producers who screen the calls to make sure they stay on point, stay on topic, and go from there. So even becoming a caller is a skill set. Not just rambling on, but even the host has to tell them you might want to get to the point a little bit, or they once again to come out the gate with the point, or things like that. Because again, people are different, and people talk differently, obviously, and comport differently. So you got to take it as it is. So that takes time. But yeah, I had to let people know, yeah, before we part company, this is what it is. So I remember working with the late great Jay Marvin, who was another one of my mentors, and working with him as his producer. There were times when people called in. Let's go to, for example, let's go to let's see, Arlington Heights and Bruce. Hello, Bruce, you're on WLS, and Bruce will come on. Yeah, Jay, I think the stock exchange is going to be at a all-time low, and I think that the price of eggs will go up. It costs you $80 a carton and things like that. Rattling on stuff. And then Jay will say all of a sudden, "You trying to take over my show?" And Bruce like, "No, no, no, I'm not." I said, "Yes, you are, Bruce. You call in there all the time, trying to sound intelligent, try to override what I'm saying. Now get your own damn show." And Jay was right. Now I had to use the Jay because Jay obviously was in radio long before I came on the scene, and I'm like a Jedi Knight in training at this point. And I didn't understand. I didn't understand the reason why Jay would say that, but I got it as I became a host myself. Because you have people on there, whether they try to or not, they want to ambush the program and then want to turn around and say, "No, I'm not." And I got it. I mean, when it's like, and I felt the same way as I became a host. Get your own show. Don't. We had a conversation before, and everybody's been great, but you come on here and espouse all this stuff, and then I have to break it down to you that it's not, again, your show and my show. This ain't yours, mine, and ours. It's my program. But Jay would do it from time to time. I still miss Jay Marvin, Barbara Jean. Yeah, I do too. We say, Rachel, unless you're John's record Landecker, uh, hang up on the call. Well, yeah. Well, that's a different thing with John's record Landecker, absolutely. But yeah, that whole thing with the host and caller thing, I guess is a go. I think it's a thing between the end of time. I don't know. Maybe it's just an ongoing thing. I mean, that's a never ending battle. It doesn't have to be a never ending battle, but still, like I said before, even when I was calling, this is okay. As I mentioned before, I'm 19 again to talk radio. Even when I was a caller, I want to take over the man's or woman's program. I was a caller for Christ's sake. I knew my role because my dream was to get my own show. And now, with today's technology and it being what it is, you got this, you got your own show. You got one of these babies, which I know you do, you got your own show. You do everything from this device. Everything. I kid you not. Uncle Base lie to you? Of course I'm not. Of course I would not. Of course not. You don't believe me? Type in anchor.fm. ANCHOR.FM. Go to it, and everything you need to do a talk or any type of program, we're talking about talk now, program you can do from your phone. Your mic, your music, everything is on your phone. And then you can put it on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasting from. There's no excuse. They say, Rachel, yes, you would. Absolutely. I would have killed with this type of technology back when we were students. Oh, man, please. I think if you're a person that wants to do their own content from that perspective, as Rachel and I were coming up as students at Columbia College Chicago, we would have killed for this technology. Are you kidding me? My God. Because of course we just had terrestrial radio. Of course you didn't have your own. This is way before the internet. You, I mean, you look at you had like 2 cans and a string in between. Just the fact that you're able to start your own show, start your own content, I would encourage anybody to do so. Not to come on my program, some of this program, just start rattling off stuff. And once again, it's different if a caller or somebody, well, not like here we have callers and people come through the link. When you're making sense and your contributions are strong, I don't mind that. That's what I want. I'm talking about the people who, for some reason, want to hijack your program. And to me, that's just a waste of a lot of time. Oh, and this is my favorite. If I feel like my show is being hijacked, and I say, get your own show, no, I don't want to do that. Then you're a flying fucking lie. You're a flying lie. You are. Just admit the fact that you can't or won't do it for whatever reasons. That's all. Well, see, it's easy to come on somebody else's program and show up and show out and then exit stage right. It takes hard work to put together something. It takes hard work. Well, you don't want to put in the hard work. We just want to come in as lollygag on somebody else's program and then take off. Come on now. You're better than that. And to me, that's just a lazy way of saying I don't want to do my own show. Why? Because you got to put in hard work into it. And what I mean by all this is the fact that, again, the host caller thing has to be respected. It has to be. Or else you get nothing. There has to be a respect factor. That's all. As well as should. It's the second Friday. You know what time it is. He served in the military as a New Jersey elected official. Please welcome back my brother with the content that makes you scratch your head and say, yes, Mr. George L. Cook III. How you doing, George? And welcome back.
How you doing this beautiful afternoon, Mr. Base? What's up?
Man, I'm great. Before we move further, let me congratulate you. This is a mouthful. You've been appointed chair of the program committee on the Union County College Foundation Board. Congratulations to you on that.
Thank you. And what's funny about that is when I first got elected, when you first get elected, you get a whole lot of mail and a whole lot of things about charities.
Right.
And I went there because they were doing something to help Black students, not just go to school, but to finish school. I went there, and me being an idiot that I am, said, well, how can I volunteer to help out? And next thing I know, I'm on their board, and I got a call last week. Hey, look, we got to open in the program committee. You've been doing hard work. You want that position as a chair? Like, well, sure, why not? I know I can help there. And be honest with you, it's not that hard work because we've been doing it anyway. So it's just a continuation of what's already happening. Thank you for bringing that up.
Absolutely. More power to you. Now, you're in New Jersey. So what part of New Jersey is this college located at?
It's in Cranford, New Jersey, which is not just about maybe 20 minutes from Newark. For those of you that know anything about it, it's not that far from Newark. Because, like I said, it's a community college, and it's actually, even though we call it Union County College, it's now Union County College of New Jersey. Because the move now is to take community college or county college out of the name. Don't ask me why. That's just well, I know why, because to get the stigma off of it. Because some people just won't go to community college, but it's a smart thing to do because you get your required classes out the way for a cheaper price. Then you can transfer to a 4-year college, and all your core classes are done. That's what a lot of people are doing now, especially with the idiot in the White House who has already made it hard to go to school because now you can't get as much through the FAFSA, you can't get as much money. Even your parents can't take out as much before. So students have been accepted, and now they can't go. So it's an option that hope everybody takes. There's no shame in going to community college, none at all.
None whatsoever. No, you're absolutely right. Once again, congratulations to you, and the floor is yours. Go right ahead, sir.
Well, what else can we talk about with the bullshit going on in Texas?
Well,
I'm sure you've touched on it, but what was crazy to me is the 51 Democrats left, and you had Republicans making all these threats. Now, anybody with common sense knows once they cross Texas state lines, your Texas state police, your whatever law enforcement you have in Texas can't touch you. And the FBI is not going to touch you because guess what? They haven't committed a crime. Not going to a session is not a crime. So they got all these MAGA people. They're going to go to jail, this and that. Now it's been 3 days. And as Jolanda Jones, one of the representatives of Texas, said, a subpoena from Texas doesn't mean shit in Illinois. A subpoena from Texas doesn't mean shit in New York. So all these idle threats, now they're going to pay some fines. But they got people backing them, giving them money, and try to say that's a bribery charge, which is not, because it's basically a campaign donation. And when it comes to campaign donations, I'm not going to say you can do what you want, but there are creative ways to spend that money. And when it comes to issues of gerrymandering, let's pay attention to Alabama, where they tried this bullshit of it. In 2023, they were told their map violated voting rights. And they were not only that, they were told to create a second predominantly black district. And that's how Shamari Figures got elected in Alabama. They go back this year with the same map, thinking the same court that told them they had to do that will somehow just go, oh yeah, okay, it's okay. No, they told them no. And they told them, but I love what they told them is that, and this is a court with two Trump judges on it, two Trump
Mm,
appointed judges on it. And they
right.
told them, don't come back with this bullshit to 2030 when the regular redistricting process happens after the census. And I hope that if one of these cases makes it to the Supreme Court tells everybody that. Otherwise, they're going to have 25 cases about states and gerrymandering. And I think just to lower their workload, they'll just, I pray that they just say, wait till after the 2030 census, y'all can do whatever you want. Because it's going to get crazy if everybody starts redistricting. And unfortunately, California and New York is not as easy as their governors made it seem because they have independent redistricting boards. So it's not as easy as they make it seem. You would have to have a referendum to do what they want to do before they could even do it. And both of those measures won overwhelmingly in their state. So it's not going to be as easy as some people make it think.
Well, just the fact, and it's no big secret because, of course, like you said, you know who in the White House
Yeah,
dictating all these foot soldiers to do his bidding, just to try to redistrict the whole thing is not. Ray Charles and state he's in right now can see this. This again is just showing a desperate attempt to try to regain power in the midterms, and the fact that it wouldn't surprise us, but at the same time, what we're dealing with here is not your set of realistic circumstances. There has to be ways to fight back. There has to be different ways to approach it. And again, when you look at the Democrats leaving the state and everything else, and some people talking about lock them up, drastic times, drastic measures, the whole thing. And you think that again, that you would have adults who are politicians sit down in the room and state their case. No, they want you to shut the entire hell up. And while they just do all this redistricting without even a fight. And again, it's the classic bullyism. I said before this program and many programs, I hate bullies because they dish it out and class they can't take it. Soon as you say anything bad about them, oh my God, how dare you? You know, this is if somebody called the law. And we're seeing this right now in politics where it's going backwards to the forwards as the nation is concerned.
yeah, but that's how Republicans do. When they get in power, they just push stuff through. Democrats want to meet with people, they want to discuss things, and unfortunately, in the times that we live in, that's just not practical. And when it comes to the Republicans in Texas, the whole process was a sham. The hearings, everything. What they don't tell people is they already had the maps. The maps weren't drawn up in Texas; they were drawn up at the White House. So that was already done. This was all the sham. They were going to push it through, ram it through. And now on the 19th, I'm pretty sure the Democrats will hold on to the 19th of August.
Mm.
But then the governor can just call another special session. So I don't know how long they can hold on because they do have families, they do have jobs. So at some point they got to go back to Texas. And what I hope happens is that when it passes, they sue and take the case right to court in district court in Texas. We know what's going to happen, but after that you take it to the Supreme Court. Whatever choice do you have? Hopefully, like I said, the Supreme Court says, look, we don't want to have to do 25 cases of this state doing this state's doing that. So everybody just cut the bullshit to 2030 and leave us the hell alone. That's what I'm hoping they do.
Let's see. I have a comment from Jed in the comment section here. It says, thank you, Gio Cook, to the third power. No stigma. Get those credits cheap. Community college. Yeah. So, no, you're absolutely right. I'm glad that George mentioned about that because you're right. Going back to that comment real quick. It was a stigma, especially if you come up in an era where you graduate from high school and you see your classmates go to other colleges, universities, 4-year ride, stuff like that. And it felt like you were quote unquote put back if you went to a community college. I never saw that at all. In fact, here in Chicago, there were some great community colleges where you have culinary skills, you had other skills, and not everybody was meant to go to college. See, people forget about that one
Exactly.
notation. And it's a damn shame they took away all these other ways and skill sets for schools, high schools, a shop, like car, auto shop, and stuff like that.
Your vocational / technical schools, your
Exactly. You take
yeah.
all that, but see, again, you're trying to, we had a conversation before, you're trying to really, as far as I'm concerned, make the haves and the have-nots, where there's no middle class in between. Because that's where we're heading.
As people get those jobs at Votex, plumbers, mechanics, HVAC, HVAC, some of those people make 6-figure salaries. They're not gonna be driving around in a Bentley, but they ain't gonna be broke either. And
True.
and they don't want people to have those jobs. Let's be honest. with them kicking everybody out of the country, they need somebody to work those low wage factory jobs. They need somebody to work those farms. And they, for some reason, they didn't figure it out it's going to be us. I don't know where the hell they got that from.
Well, see.
But that's what they want. I know through incarceration, that can probably happen, unfortunately. But back to the community college thing, I remember when I was on the school board, it's like you said, there was the stigma. The stigma was so bad when we had several kids go to community college. They wanted to do a study to see what would we doing wrong that so many of our kids went to a community college. That's how bad the stigma was. And we had one young lady, she was the valedictorian. She went to a community college and she was very, very intelligent. She wanted to be a nurse. So I asked her at a ceremony they had at the county level, like, why are you doing that? She said, because I can save money. So I'm gonna get I check, my courses will transfer. And she said, no, become a nurse costs a lot of money. I said, yeah, I know now because my daughter became a nurse, but at the time I didn't know. And so she was able to save a lot of money. She still became a nurse. And as I always tell people, all the degree means is that you can learn. Where it comes from at the end of the day doesn't matter. As long as it's accredited. As long as it's in credit school, where it comes from doesn't matter. And many of the students that go, like I said, they transfer to another school. So it's not the county college on their degree, because most of them actually don't get their associates. They take their core classes, transfer out to the 4-year school. So your degree is going to be whatever 4-year school you graduated from. Now, if you want to go back and get some extra courses, get some accreditations, that's also what community colleges are good for. A lot of people get certificates and all that stuff from community colleges because it's cheaper, and it's the same thing as if it came from a 4-year college.
Amazing. What else you got on the plate, sir? Always fascinating to have a conversation with you.
Oh, well, have you checked out a little change of subject, but you checked out Eyes of Wakanda yet?
No, I have not. No, I've seen it advertised. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, they did. Well, they did a horrible job advertising. Like if you didn't know it was coming, you would have no idea. But if you're a fan of Black Panther, I'm not going to give away any spoilers.
Okay.
There's only 4 episodes. They're about 30 minutes each, animation. But if you check it out, there are 2 episodes in particular that bring you back to the Black Panther that make you say, "Oh shit!" Especially the last one.
Gotcha.
They bring you back.
Is this on Disney Plus or
Disney
somewhere
Plus?
else?
Yeah, Disney Plus. And one brings you back to something that happens on Netflix. Another one brings you back to something that actually happened in a Black Panther movie. And the funny thing is, while you're watching it, you don't realize what you're especially the one that brings you back to the Black Panther movie. The whole time you're watching it, you don't realize what you're looking at until they show the ending scene. You realize, oh, that's what that is. So they did a great job. Ryan Coogler, of course, produced it. Good. Some people have a problem with the animation style. I enjoyed it. I liked it because I don't let little things like animation get on my nerves. But if you get a chance, check that out.
Do you think that they should get another actor to play the Black Panther? I know in the movie they kind of hinted at it.
Yeah.
But should they overall just get another actor to play the Black? This is nothing against Chadwick Boseman. Nothing against him at all.
But I think they're going to continue the story of the Black Panther. At some point, they're going to have to.
Yeah.
And they, like you said, they've already introduced his son. And that would be a hell of a time jump. So I'm thinking that maybe in an alternate universe, his son is already grown, and that's how they bring him back into the fold. Like he comes from that universe to our universe, or now this is my favorite theory. Killmonger is not dead because we never saw him actually get buried, and maybe he takes up the mantle when Wakanda gets in some type of trouble, and they go to him like, look, we don't like you, but we need somebody to kick ass right now,
right?
And no matter how bad he is, he loves Wakanda. So he takes up the mantle to save Wakanda. Like there are various ways you can do it to bring him back. But at this point, like at first I was against them recasting. The problem is like, how do you continue the legacy? Because as much as I love Shuri, if you know the comics, she ascends to something more than a Black Panther later on. Much more powerful than a Black Panther. So she's not going to be the Black Panther forever either. So there's ways you can do it. Like people are going to be pissed no matter what you do. I think Wakanda Forever didn't make as much money as it should have. Although it did well, because some people wanted to see the Black Panther and they just weren't going to accept Shuri as the Black Panther, even though it happened in the comic books. People want comic book accuracy until they don't. And unfortunately, because of sexism, misogyny, they didn't want a female Black Panther. And that's the unfortunate truth.
Yeah, that's just sad. What's up, Ann? Good afternoon, Chris and Mr. Cook. Thank you, Ann, for being here. Thank you so much.
How you doing, sir? Man.
Bam.
That's I apologize.
That's a seasoned citizen or seasoned cougar, I would say. So yeah. Okay. Well, watch out there now. We're talking about Black Panther, so I guess it fits.
Okay.
One theory I like whether it's animation or live action in another universe, because in the comic book, Black Panther and Storm from X-Men became husband and wife, and they had children.
Yeah, like the problem right now is who you're going to cast as Storm.
Yeah, you gotta get into Storm, obviously, but I always liked that storyline. Thought that was pretty
I know,
cool.
but I know there's a wrestler, oh God, Jade in WWE. I don't know if you ever seen her.
I think I have.
She has like body wise, I mean, she even dresses up like Storm for some of them.
Oh,
I,
okay.
I don't know if she can act, but if you ever see a picture of her dressed
Right,
as Storm, you're like, that's Storm. I don't know about her acting chops. I know I'm not sure she can carry an African accent because people forget Storm was African. She is not Holly Berry.
right,
So
right.
and I think that's what they're gonna do if they're gonna continue that. You're gonna have some people said uh, in Revo, the little girl from Wicked, she's tiny. I don't think she can play the Black Panther. She's too small for me. And I mean, you don't have to be overly muscular to be Storm, but you got to have a frame. That's
You
just
gotta have
what
a
you think.
frame. Let me one. She was great in Wicked.
Mm.
And I haven't seen. I just well, of course. Okay, so here's the thing. My daughter watched the Broadway play twice, and she saw the movie, the part one, and I know through her because she loved it, and I know we get Wicked now on streaming services, but from through her talking to, she really enjoyed it. So I heard about Wicked all these years. Having said that, in the movie version and seeing her recently, Cynthia, or she needs about 2 or 3 cheeseburgers. I mean, she really needs to eat. I mean, no offense, she's literally a walking coat hanger.
Yeah, she's trying. There's a picture that just came out recently of her standing next to the cast of Wicked, where they're up here and she's down here. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, this is a PR shot. Somebody get a milk crate or something. You can't have her. I mean, her head is like this, and you see everybody else's shoulders. Yo, get a milk crate or something. I mean, she's not just short; she's tiny. So I just don't think
Yeah,
she can pull the role off. And I'm not one of those guys stuck up on comic accuracy. But in this case, I mean, she's supposed to be Storm.
yeah, I
Storm's
go
supposed to
along
be a
with that.
real badass.
Absolutely, absolutely. Could you relate the story I saw you do on social media about now being brought to NFL, playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
Oh
Teddy
yes, Teddy
Bridgewater?
Bridgewater.
Yes.
This one inspired me and at the same time pissed me off. For those of you that don't know, Teddy Bridgewater is an NFL quarterback who currently plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But last year, he was the head football coach at Miami, Northwestern, and Senior High School. Don't know why they make the name so long, and he took them to a state championship. And this is a
In
school
his
that was
first year, right?
yeah, first year. And this is a school that's in a depressed area full of gangs. So he made sure the kids ate because some couldn't afford reduced lunch, some didn't have any money at all. So he came out of his own pocket to make sure there's players ate. It's a dangerous neighborhood. So he got Uber rides to take them back and forth after practice. Some of these kids even paid for them when they were in Pop Warner. Any of you that know anything about high school sports know technically that's impermissible benefits. I don't know how feeding students to make sure they get home safety, some type of benefit that's going to help you with recruiting. That to me, that's
Mm.
the basics. That's the basics of life. That's the basics of safety. That shit. I don't believe that's a recruiting tool. But Teddy Bridgewater was suspended for what he did, and he didn't even. To his credit, he didn't say, "Oh, woe's me." He didn't pretend he didn't know what he was doing. He basically said in a press conference, "Given a chance, I would do it again." Because he was at that same high school with the same grumbling belly, and he knows what these kids were going through. And he called himself a hope dealer, and I love that. He's
Mm.
not a dope dealer, but a hope dealer. And he
Right.
went to the same school, same neighborhood as these kids, students, and he's helping them out. He's just not somebody that talks shit. He's someone doing shit, and he was punished for it. He was punished for doing the morally right thing. And but I think the Florida Athletic Association could have done was like, okay, technically you broke the rules. We're going to suspend you for a few games, but to suspend him for the whole season. And remember, he's a volunteer. He did not take a penny as head coach. He did this as
Yeah.
a volunteer. Now, how many people you know would volunteer as a head coach as a high school with all nonsense you have to put up with grades, the practices? When you're the high school head football coach, there's a lot of stuff you can do because you don't have as many assistant coaches as somebody in college. So a lot of stuff you're doing yourself, dealing with parents, dealing with teachers and staff, all this stuff. There's no booster club, so everything he did came out of his pocket.
Yes, I did.
And we need more people like that in the community. I hate the fact that he got punished. I don't see why they can't establish a booster club. Hopefully Tampa Bay sees the story and hits the school off with a little bit of money, and hopefully
Yeah.
he's reinstated at some point.
Yeah, that touched me, man. I talked about that topic here on this program, and this was before Teddy got picked up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to to do quarterback duties. But I don't get it. It's a fucked up society where you're being punished for helping. You're being punished to do the right thing. Here's a guy who went to the same high school, came up the same way these young gentlemen are coming up through football and having education and the whole nine, and helping them to the point where, like I said before, we just said here, went to the championship first year one. So just the fact that you would think something like that would be embraced, you want to put out there in PR and look what this person's doing, but no, you want to penalize them, have them sit down for a year. I just think it's beyond stupid.
Now, the mistake he made was winning the championship. Because if he had done all that and they had lost, let's be honest, high school coaches are petty. This school that probably didn't win much wasn't supposed to win anything. And you know about high school sports, when that school, especially if it's predominantly black school, starts winning, other coaches who ignored them for years, all of a sudden they must be cheating. They must be recruiting. All them kids don't live in that district.
Right.
And people start looking at the school with a magnifying glass. Like I said, if he had never won, we wouldn't have heard anything about this. I'm happy they didn't take the championship from him, because that really would have pissed me off. But somebody who's that good, who's a good coach, a good person, who pours into his kids and is a good mentor that they can relate to because he's from the neighborhood, like you said, should have been embraced. And it's a shame that it took a press conference at the NFL at an NFL facility for people to realize who this man is and what he did.
Right.
But like I said, he didn't make himself into a martyr. He was like, basically, I'll do it again. And I appreciate him for that, because some people would have cried and moaned, but no, I think he's still going to pour into these kids, whether it's Pop Warner. Like I said, hopefully he can get Tampa Bay to donate. He bought helmets, he bought equipment, he bought uniforms, all that stuff. Who do you know? And this is like Teddy Bridgewater. He made some nice coin in the NFL, but he didn't get those big contracts like a Bledsoe or something like that, or Tom Brady. He didn't get those big contracts. For him to do this, this is out of the goodness of his heart.
Absolutely. We need more Teddy Bridgewaters, man. Teddy Bridgewater, I'm telling you, I think is dynamic, definitely, ahead of the game and showing a shining example what you do to help not only student athletes, but to help in general. George, always good to see you, brother. As always, where can people find you at, sir?
Follow me at George Cook at African American Reports on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Fanbase, YouTube, and Twitter. Twitter, now known as X. I know I'm not supposed to be there, but I messed around and got it verified. Thanks, I'll wait for it to expire.
Hey, I'm mad at you. Thank you, George, and congratulations once again on being a part of that board there, union in New Jersey, and being a shining example of helping others as you as well. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Good weekend.
Have a good one. Take care. George L. Cook, my man, doing it in 3D, joins us every second and fourth Friday right here on BaseLine. So it's again, congratulations to him. I don't know if you heard or not. So before the show and during the show, he is now chair of the program committee that's there at a Union County College Foundation board. And again, it's a city college, but as I said, trying to get the stigma off city colleges, because again, it's just you just had to take advantage of the opportunity of enjoying education. Nothing wrong with that. You should. As a story he said about this lady who wanted to be, young lady wanted to become a nurse, valedictorian of her school in high school, and went to a city college or a community college to save money. Nothing wrong with that. And that's very smart, to be honest with you. Completely transparent here. That's great. So there you go with that. Let's see here. 312-597-2106. Again, 312-597-2106 to call in. You continue to comment there in the comment section. You have that. You have the YouTube channel, the Chris Base channel, all one word. Make sure you subscribe, like, and share that. Facebook Live. Ask for the link in time. So there you go. Let's see. Oh, I can't chew bubble gum and type at the same time. Let me do this real quick. Hold on. Ooh, wait. So a lot of ground to cover. Again, you want to free your cranium, please do so. You have the various ways to do just that. Let's see here. You know what's kind of stupid? Well, it is stupid. Have you ever seen these AI advertisements for shows that would not come on, like TV shows, like for example, The Jeffersons? There's this AI so-called promotion of Anthony Anderson and Regina King playing the Jeffersons. Says it's going to be on Hulu or whatever the hell, and it's not happening. Same with Sanford and Son with Eddie Murphy and what's it, Donnie? Was it Danny? Not Danny Glover, not him. Donald Glover. Lies, I tell you, lies. The one that was getting the buzz that I saw online pretty much was the Jeffersons one. That was, of course, Anthony Anderson and Regina King likenesses. And come to find out that is phony. It's false. Phony, faking a fraud. So you know how it is. You can't believe everything you've seen here on the internet. This program you can, absolutely. But from the standpoint of that was concerned, yeah, that was it wouldn't surprise me if it was real because some classics should just stay classics and not reboot or retool, something like that. And if you must do the reboot thing, please find a caveat or change or some avenue of doing it. Like we've seen recently this past summer, not past summer, but during the summer, a new Superman and the Fantastic Four movies. And again, just from what I've seen online, I'm not seeing either movie yet. The two, the one is closest to my heart because I'm more of a Marvel than DC. I like both, but Marvel's what I came up with, the Fantastic Four. And the Fantastic Four was one of the first comic books I ever got a chance to look at because I remember my mom had taken me to a bookstore and it had the origin stories of the Fantastic Four, Thor, the Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man. Those come to mind. So in this book had all the origin stories from their print of the original first print. They weren't first prints, but there were copies of it. They were put into a book. And that's how I learned about the characters that I was checking out when I was a kid. So this version I've seen online so far, so good. You know how it is. It's going to be split down 50-50 unless the movie just sucked wind. If the movie just sucked and swallowed, that's different. But it's always a 50-50 split with people. That's just how the world is. Traditionally, the Superman movie seems to be really doing well from the standpoint of the majority of people that I've seen online love this movie. The Fantastic Four movie has a split from what I've seen, but the Superman movie, yeah, that's supposed to be literally leaps and bounds. But yeah, that's looking forward to seeing both of those movies, especially the one I talked about the Fantastic Four. Well, interesting about the new Superman movie was again, they brought on Crypto. Crypto, of course, is his dog. Again, very nice. In fact, James Gunn, who's the director, said bringing in Crypto was to the point where he brought in his own life, in real life, a dog, and the dog was all over the place, biting and scratching and things of that nature. But there you go. And based upon his real life, and I think James Gunn's vision is to try to be as comic book accurate as possible. That's his goal. And just bringing in Crypto, I thought was pretty cool. Let's see. The Thing is my favorite character on the Fantastic Four because he is strong and tough and he can fight and get the job done, types Omar. What I like about him was the fact that he also had a heart. And outside of literally the rough exterior beats the heart of someone who just knows how to love. And I thought that was a good and interesting trait to have too. So as hard of a rock appearance that he had gone through that space shuttle experience, that his heart didn't change. So there you go. That right there says a lot. Let's see. Oh, what the hell? Hold on. Check this out real quick. Okay, hold on. Okay. So to me, when it comes down to that is concerned, it's a matter of how you're able to make these characters literally come to life on screen that your imagination had when you were doing your thing as a kid or even as an adult reading these wonderful stories. Federal prosecutors in Albany has issued subpoenas to New York Attorney General Letitia James inquiring about her office's civil fraud case against President Donald Trump and corruption case against the National Rifle Association. The Justice Department declined to comment. A spokesperson for James called the subpoenas a weaponization of the justice system, invoking a criticism Trump used to describe her and her case against him that resulted in a $500 million penalty. Any weaponization of the justice system should disturb every American. We stand strongly behind our successful litigation against the Trump Organization and the National Rifle Association, and we will continue to stand up for New Yorkers' rights. The civil fraud case is on appeal with the New York State Appellate Division's First Department. Trump, his eldest sons, and his business were found liable for 10 years of fraud that inflated the president's net worth. James sued the NRA in 2020, accusing the gun rights group former CEO and others misappropriating donor funds to finance luxury items for themselves. The jury determined that the former CEO owed more than $4 million. The subpoenas from the U.S. Attorney's Office, the North District of New York, are part of an investigation into whether James and her office violated the civil rights of Trump or the NRA executives. An attorney for James, Abby Lowell, called the probe a dangerous escalation and the most blatant and desperate example of this administration carrying out the president's political retribution campaign. If prosecutors carry out this important improper tactic and are generally interested in the truth, we are ready and waiting with the facts and the law, Lowell said in a statement. Trump and his eldest sons owe more than $500 million, including interest in their civil fraud case after a judge ruled in 2023 that they were repeatedly inflated Trump's net worth to secure better loan terms over a decade of business dealings. The judge, Arthur Engoron, said the frauds shocked the conscience while handing down the fines last year. A ruling on Trump's appeal, the judgment could come at any time now. You gotta be kidding me. Jed, today, Trumpy today, with his charge, let me dig down and find a good one. 5 down, C. Bigley. He had my head. Yeah, going back to, thank you, Jed. Trump is one of those people who, again, everything he's doing is personal. Everything he's doing is personal. These are personal attacks on these people because they went after him. They dare to go after the so-called throne of Trump. I got paid the piper. Just that simple. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. And again, classic bullyism, dish it out, can't take it. And that's where we are with this guy. You can't say boo without him trying to come back at you. But yeah, he come after you. I think it's just a damnedest of shame. What's up, Wilfredo? Of course, Wise All. What's up, man? My man, Wise. How you doing, sir? This, of course, is the founder and owner of Real Wise Radio. This program is simulcasted on his internet radio station. How you doing, Wise? Thank you for being here, bro. How you doing, man? And get back to 47. To sit at the helm of the White House and to sit there and play with your crayons and go pee and boo-boo in your diaper and cry wah because somebody's making fun of you, because somebody talked back to you, that somebody has sense enough to fight. And all you want to do is have these lawsuits that are frivolous, but they're not really frivolous because he's been winning. Again, ABC and CBS, for example, winning those lawsuits. So, of course, you're winning for people bucking under the foot of Trump, of the knee of Trump, kissing the orange ring. They feel obligated to do that. And again, sold their immortal souls all the way down the river. What does that say to us as a nation? I deeply appreciate the people who fight back, who are out there with picket signs, whether it's Trump or Trump's cronies. It is not good to live in this society where you're dealing with that type of mentality. Speaking of cronies, here in Chicago, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem spoke in this city today. Dozens of protesters gathered outside the DHS building in Lombard over the presence of Secretary Noem, who made a brief visit to criticize Illinois politicians and brag about the success of ICE. Protesters lined the street in Noem's motorcade pulled into Lombard's DHS field office holding signs and chanting. Inside the building, the secretary stood behind confiscated arms, 20 kilograms of fentanyl, and money, which were all confiscated from Illinois. Next to her was also pictures of 4 men from Mexico, Honduras, and Poland allegedly arrested by ICE. Officials in the Illinois for different crimes, she claims. Noem said that they are the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens. Hey, what's up, Cannon? As in Walter Cannon. How you doing, sir? Thank you for being here. How's your Friday? She shouted and touted about President Donald Trump's leadership, claiming for the first time in the past 3 months, no people crossed the border illegally into the U.S. Noem also criticized political Illinois leadership at the state and local levels, especially Governor J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson over sanctuary city laws. Quote, I am here today because the elected leaders in this state of Illinois are ignoring the law. In fact, they're being obstructionists when it comes to getting dangerous criminals off their streets, Secretary Noem said. deciding that dangerous criminals that are murderers, rapists, money launderers, have committed assault, that are trafficking children, and more important than the families that live in the communities here. NOAA maintains over 70% of the individuals arrested by ICE have pending or criminal convictions against them. Those numbers are strongly disputed by immigration groups. We know from our hotline and from talking to our community partners, that the breadth of the widespread operation is here, and that the people that this can't even talk, uh, and that the people that I kid you not, this is what it says here, is abducting and taking our neighbors and community members. This is what Brandon Lee said, the Illinois Coalition of Immigrant Rights. Gotta sharpen that up. Nobody's getting swept up. We're running target enforcement operations across the country and using our case files of information to know who is a criminal in this country that needs to be removed, Noam said. Noam's visit to Chicago comes days after she announced that the state of Indiana is partnering with DHS to expand ICE detention space at the so-called Speedway Slammer. These names. Noam said the state's adding an additional 1,000 beds to the Miami Correctional Facility in north central Indiana, dedicated for people allegedly in the country illegally who committed crimes. Okay. This is the same person that cannot take a joke, going back to Christy Noam when she was mocked on South Park on Comedy Central. And again, it's a joke. This is the same person, Christy Noam, who said in her book that she shot her dog and killed her dog. But you can't take a joke from an animation series? What the entire fuck are wrong with these people? I don't get how their mind was, nor would I. Again, I would not, as I said before, do not want to get lost in the abyss of stupidity in somebody's skull like that. So it's okay for you to shoot a dog, but if someone makes fun of you on South Park, you have a problem with that. The insults to Governor J.B. Pritzker here in Illinois and Chicago City Mayor Brandon Johnson, I get, because that's what she does. She's just carrying out what her leader does, meaning Trump. Trump calls out names of individuals, stuff like that. So that's what she does. They're foot soldiers. But again, just the fact that, once again, these people should not be even hired to be dog catchers, especially her, let alone high positions of government. But they have it and get idiotic stuff like this. And it could have been a dog and pony show. Who's to say that detaining all this fentanyl and money and stuff like that is actually true? It could be just a dog and a pony show for the press to say, "Look what we are doing. Look what we have done in capturing these people." Jeez. I mean, really. And it's sickening because people fall for the okie doke. I mentioned before on the precursor this past Wednesday about former Superman actor Dean Cain coming on board with ISIS and doing a recruitment style on social media, on a social media platform. There was one person on social media that said that I won't watch a Superman movie now because of what Dean Cain said. And she had to be corrected. No, he is not connected to the new Superman movie out at all. It goes back to his time playing Superman on ABC. with Lois and Clark. That's his title, not the current movie. But it's just, again, how these people all of a sudden want to support ICE. I said before, I think it's a check, also to stay relevant in today's times. But this whole ICE thing is it's scary. Go back to Christy Nome. You shouldn't have that job. You're the same person that had elected official removed when you was in California. Remember that? It's not right. Let's see. As I always tell you, you can't make sense out of nonsense. Don't even try, because you hurt your brain. You don't want to do it. Let's see. Howard Stern is much still on the air, very much so. A day after the report claimed that his long-running The Howard Stern Show will be canceled when his contract with SiriusXM ends later this year, he popped up to do a unscheduled show when a repeat would have been aired. The timing appeared to be pure coincidence for Stern, who had been on his summer break since June, was expected to resume hosting new episodes of his show next month. He was joined by Metallica drummer Lars Ulrich, or Ulrich, depending on how you say his name, or Urchik. I just many people heard his three versions of his name. I just call him Lars. The two shared their appreciation for late Black Sabbath rocker Ozzy Osbourne and discussed last month's Back to the Beginning tribute show, which had been billed as the Crazy Train singer's final performance. Lars had performed at the show. Stern said that he was profoundly sad about Osbourne's death. Stern return to the airways seemed unrelated to a story in the U.S. Sun published on Tuesday that credited unnamed insiders with saying that Stern won't remain at the entertainment company. Stern's contract is up in the fall, and while Sirius is planning to make him an offer, they don't intend to take him, extend him to take it, intend for him to take it. A source told the outlet, Sirius and Stern are never going to meet on the money he is going to want. It's no longer worth the investment. The 71-year-old signed a 5-year contract for $500 million in 2020, according to Forbes. Stern's show, which features buzzy, in-depth interview with celebrities, has been broadcast by satellite, provided SiriusXM since 2006. Before that, it aired on terrestrial radio stations for decades. Lars and Stern also announced SiriusXM's new Maximum Metallica channel, that's on channel 42, set to debut August 29th. To celebrate the new channel, the satellite broadcaster and streaming company will host a live performance by Metallica at the Stephen Talk House in New York on Thursday, and that's August 28th. So this whole thing with Howard Stern, which I always love Howard Stern's work. I'll say this: in the climate of the country that we're in, we don't know, because going back to, I hate to say it because he puts some in the news every goddamn where, about 47. So 47 got Stephen Colbert canceled at CBS in the Late Show. His last time on the air would be May next year, 2026, going back to Stephen Colbert. And now they're saying, or now he's saying, or the White House is saying, that Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon are next. So who's to say that Howard Stern will be taken off the air. And here's why. Because Howard always had Trump on for years as a guest. And as a guest back then, when you're the Howard Stern show in particular, yeah, you want the type of, put guest on because he's not afraid of a microphone. He'll just say anything to get attention, which he continues to do. I'm talking about back then being a Howard Stern guest. Howard Stern has also been known for outrageous shit. So even though, depending on your listening ear, probably not take it too serious, but still, again, it was very creepy. Again, as I told you before, for him to say he's going to date his daughter, he could. If his daughter is hot, it wasn't my daughter, I date her type of thing. He said on, once again, Howard Stern show, The View, and others. And because of his political run, Howard has not really been behind him on that. As a guest, yes, but as a political person at the time, before when he was running for the presidency the first time and everything else, he was not. So who's to say again that Trump will find a way to get revenge on him? Now, but it's stupid because again, him, it being Trump, he's the one who said he would date his daughter. He's the one who said it. Yet Howard may pay the price for re-airing those episodes or excerpts from those shows. He has every right to. It's his material. He owns it. Stern and of course Sirius XM. The stupidity of getting pissed at something just makes no sense. It's beyond me. It really is. And like again, going after Rosie O'Donnell and the White House, talk about that too. It's just too much crap. Because she was making fun of him way before the presidency. Hell, when she was on The View as the moderator. It just amazes me how people like him just how do you live? How do you walk and talk? Definitely not from a functional standpoint of normalcy, more abnormal is concerned. To connect to BaseLine, you know the following. Phone number 312-597-2106. Again, 312-597-2106. The Base channel, the Chris Base channel, all one word, all right there on YouTube. You know what time it is because people are doing it. Jed, I go on, of course, Sick Diggy, Barbara Jean, the YouTube channel, the Chris Base channel, all one word with a period at the end of the word channel. Subscribe, like, and share. Instagram, I am the Base. Comment section right there, the peanut gallery, continue to type, or you'd be so bold to ask for the link. I'll put the link in and you come through that way. I was going through some viral videos today and I come across this one viral video segment, ESPN Originals. And it had Ben Wilson, the Chicago Phenom, on there. Let's see. I'll go back to comment section. We got to take off? Okay, you have a great weekend too, Omar. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time to be a part of the program. Have a great weekend yourself. Stay cool. I mentioned about ESPN Originals. So they're showing Ben Wilson. I told you I've known since grammar school. We graduated 8th grade together. And, of course, showing the segments of him at Simeon becoming the phenom that he was. And way ahead of his time. He had a growth spurt, became 6'7", 6'8", can rebound, had handles like a guard. Defensively, he was fantastic. Wicked outside shot. And no matter how old I get, it still pains me. It's going to pain the rest of us. For those of us who knew him, for those of us who knew of him. And it's the classic, it seems as though the good always die young. That was Benji. That was Ben Wilson. I will, but I am leaving, yet I am listening to right now. Okay, well, yeah, I appreciate it, man. Thank you, Omar. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And again, you know my story. Last time I saw Benji was months before he got shot and killed. We got to the phones and say, good afternoon. You're welcome on BaseLine. Who's this?
Hey, hi. Hi. I'm just calling in to discuss your thoughts on gun violence.
Oh, yes. What's your name? Hello? Yes. What is your name?
Yes. Oh, yes. Hi. My name is. Hang on. I got to turn you down a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead. Turn me down in the background. Yeah.
All right. I hear you.
Okay.
Your name is Chris?
Yes, your name. My name is Chris. What's your name?
Chris, how you doing? I'm calling to discuss.
Hold on. What is your name?
Violence.
Hold on. Wait. What is your name?
Hang on. I'm still hearing the feedback.
Okay.
Oh, my name is Rob. I'm calling from Florida.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, go ahead. So we're talking about gun violence.
Yeah, gun violence. So I was do you believe that's more inner city systemic, or do you feel like it's more like inbred in like the children through their uprising?
So say that again. So you think gun violence, you had the question again. Say the question again, please.
Yeah. So do you feel like it comes from systemically? Yeah. So the question, I feel like, do you feel like it's like bad areas, or do you feel like it comes from the family? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you feel like it's the area or the family?
I think it's both. I think it depends on where you are in your life. If you're raised in the rural South or rural country areas, or in what quote unquote inner cities, the gun violence is gun violence no matter where it is. I think again, depending on the person who introduces the younger person to violence, to guns. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people, it's a rite of passage. For example, if you're a person who likes to hunt and you go out and hunt, you have the rifles and the gear and everything else, and you want to pass it on to your son or daughter or both, and you go out and train them, that's different. If somebody's out in this so-called inner city and they see a gun violence, or they put like this, they use guns to protect themselves with some people, or they'll do, of course, to do wrong and to shoot and to kill people. I think circumstances are different. So I think depending on your data and your information, it's all over the place. I think, again, the way to curb it is to be responsible. If you're a person who wants to have a gun, make sure you have gun training. Make sure you put it in a safe, lock it up somewhere where people can't get to it. Your family can't get to it. The combination to the safe is for you and a family member, something like that. So being responsible. So to answer your question, I think it's a case by case basis, but responsibility is in the hand of the gun owner, him or herself.
So do you feel like when people do the gangsta lean, like when you're watching YouTube videos, right, and you see these young kids, like both white and black. I'm not saying it's a white thing or a black thing or a race thing even.
Right.
You know, like when you see them doing the gangsta lean, you know, is that swagger questionable?
Well, that's just trying to imitate something you see on TV and movies. That's all that is. That's not anything real, because and you see people cock their gun to the side, that's not even realistic. Nobody shoots like that. Nobody shoots like that. And even if they did, They have no idea what's going on with the bullet, not being responsible. So when you see that in movies and television, that's just mocking something, or it might become a so-called TikTok trend or whatever the hell. That's just stupid. So no, I mean that has nothing to do with. If people do out there, they'll get their asses shot for real, trying to do some so-called gangster lean or some gangster crap. But again, look, I've known real gangsters. That's nothing. What they see on TV, that's just a mockery. So that's nothing at all.
So, like, are you talking like gangbanger gangsters, or like, what type of gang activity have you seen it on the streets? I'm just asking, just trying to understand it from a different viewpoint.
I've seen it on the street. I've seen guys I grew up with. We were all kids together, decide to choose a life of crime and to become gangs. I've seen that, and they have done some things that I would never do. But from the standpoint of what they saw to be attracted to gangs, depending on the person themselves, again, if they see someone who say is a gangbanger who lives the lifestyle, to them that could be attractive. To see them with the guns, to see them with that type of life, they're attracted to the life that happens to have guns involved. So they lean towards that. And depending on who they are, they become recruited and become that themselves. So whatever they are drawn to within that gang life, they become that. So and we see in the movies it's exaggerated, but in real life, it's similar, but not like that. No, I mean, it's just a whole different way they comport themselves, a whole different thing. Of course, they hype it up for the movies and TV because they have to, but the violence they try to mimic sometimes hits, but none like the reality is a whole different world.
So, speaking of reality versus, what's seen, right? I don't know if you've seen that viral video circulating about that African American teenager that was in Jacksonville, Florida. This happened back in March. He, you talk about perception, and then you talk about what actually happened, right? Like you see this one side of the video from his perspective, and it's just the cops smashing in his side window, punching him in the face, and beating the shit out of him and taking him out of the car. But like when we don't see the events that precede the video, I think that is a major problem as well, because it sets up for rhetoric. It sets up for people to really not understand what's going on with what's going on. It paints a totally separate picture. It's kind of dishonest. It's kind of real gaslighty. So I'm gonna go back, right? A couple summers ago, we all know what happened to Mr. Floyd, right?
Right.
The events that preceded that, what happened, and then everything afterwards, right? Like, I'm not saying that whatever happened, right? At the end of the day, we can't have white people sticking their knees on African Americans' necks. That's not the way out of things, right? We don't build trust like that, right? So how do we ask ourselves the difficult questions of how do we not have another Derek Chauvin, or, how do we not have another, and then how do we realize when they're trying to gaslight us, and then how do we shut the shit down? There's there's so much different stuff, and I just feel like, the legacy media pits everyone against each other. You have this person attacking that. And it's just like they bombard you continuously with just dog shit, and like at the end of the day, it's just two people, like you and me, talking. You know what I'm saying? Like black, white, whatever we are at the end of the day. I think if some people can just divert, repurpose, and be intentional about things moving forward, we can solve a lot of the racism and the bigotry going on in our country. What do you think about that?
Everything you said makes sense. Everything you said hits home. But unfortunately, there's people out there, Rob, that love chaos, that love to continue to move the needle and keep everybody separated, because when you separate people and not give them the knowledge of what's really out there, you keep them confused. As I said all the time, when you read about the first rule of magic, the first rule of magic is to cause a plausible diversion. You don't know what the left hand's doing, but the right hand's doing something else. So in this situation, you're right. There should be more conversation, more dialogue, but you have people out here like your current president who's out here fear mongering and continue to wave the fans of racism, um, separatism, egoism, the whole thing. And when that happens, that keeps us confused. And we should not. We should be a country of people who can sit down at a table and air our dirty laundry and get stuff done. Because if we don't, and we won't, because nobody really wants to do that, they want to hide behind their computers, hide behind their devices, and not meet with people in real life and get stuff done, because that's too much like right. That's a whole different mentality of a person who wants to get things done and try to clean stuff up. There's certain people out there who just want to keep the mess going. And that's where we are. We have to understand that this reality that we have is not cool. This reality we have right now sucks wind, and it's bullshit. But
would it be cool if I occasionally called you brother? Like, not in a cult way, more like a medieval Bond type of like battle kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I understand
right,
that. I have no
you
problem
know.
with that. No, I have no problem with that. But again, you have people out there who might. So it's literally, as I said before, it's a case by case basis about who accepts you for who you are.
So can I also ask a question? And since I feel like we are vibing, you know, and I appreciate you, I really do appreciate you engaging me in this phone call, because it doesn't happen without these conversations, you know. Like, I hear the N word with an A and then the N word with an R, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is like one of the most common things, right? Like, what is actually offensive? Like is it like, because me as a white person, right? I believe that there are white interpretations of the N word with an R. I believe there's black interpretations, Spanish interpretations. It's like a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's a you lifestyle or a you thing. I'm like, you know, when people put up the thug nigga shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, you know, you have that thug nigga vibe, and then you have the hard hitting pipe nigga vibe. It's just different. It's different, you know, and I don't know, like, when is it acceptable? When is it like is it okay to use it if you're friends, right? Like at what point does it cross that border and to be like, yo, this guy's pissed that I called him the N word, but maybe I might not. I was just kidding. Like, you know, like, and I feel like that sometimes gets misinterpreted. Like, people's friendly vibes get interpreted as. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts when it comes to it ending with an A or ER, stay the entire fuck away from that word. Stay away from it. Now, again, if you vibe with a person and that's your communication between you and that person or persons involved, then that's fine. Me personally, stay away from it. It's too much trouble behind. It's too much trouble. Yeah. Now,
right. It's too much of a gray area, because black and white make the gray, you know, and it's like, oh, you know, it's like, I don't know if I want to do this. So listen, I appreciate your time this evening. I feel like we had a productive conversation. I feel like we may have built a couple of bridges. Do you do this? Do you do this often?
I'll say that again.
Do you do podcasts often? Do you go live often?
I do. I'm on here every Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Pacific time.
And how long do you typically run for?
This show runs 2 hours.
Okay. So maybe at some point in time, you know, maybe we can plan to link up and have some more dialogue in regards to this. I feel like we really built a baseline today, right? And maybe we can, you know, just you do your channel, I do my channel, and we help each other out. You know what I'm saying?
Well, first of all, how did you come across this program?
So I was just looking for So initially, if I'm being honest, I was just looking to troll you, but I really like. I was listening to you. I was like, I really like this conversation, so I'm not going to troll him. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, I like this guy's vibe. The teeth I feel like are a little jank, but we can fix that. You know what I'm saying? And then we can
say that again.
bridges.
We'll say that again.
Oh, nothing. Gotta go. Have a good night.
Say that again. Say it again. See, first, hold on a second. Here's the thing. I've been doing this now for a long time, and I know when you talk to a person, there's a setup behind it. So let's see. Let's see if we call him back. Let's see what happens here.
Hello. Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
Okay, you probably called from a burner phone, something like that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not taken in by all of that. There's a reason why people do that. Anything about trolling, so that when see all the nigger stuff and everything else, see that's when he tipped his hand. He tipped his hand way before that, and yeah, vibe and stuff like that. Okay, all right, Rob. Okay, Rob, let's try one more time just to see, because again, I think he called from a burner phone. So
hello. Please state your name after the tone, and Google Voice will try to connect you.
You know what, Rob? I peeped your whole car from the beginning. Hold on. Yeah. Yes, that's a. You know what? It reminded me of a person that called up. I think he called the Friday or Friday before, and was talking about trains and stuff like that. And it's kind of hard to see people are legit or not, because they sometimes come through and try to feel you out. And then there you go. Hello, who's this?
How you doing?
Who is this?
I'm here to see your big nigger dick.
Let's see here. See, this is when. Hold on a second. Let me see something.
The Google subscriber you have called is not available. Please leave a message.
Here we go. This is when you're onto something. When you get calls like that, yeah, you're onto something. You are. Let me tell you why. Because you know how much energy you must have? Let's see. Forgive me for what I'm about to say next. Let's see. Hello.
Yo, go fix your teeth, you fat nigger.
Here we go. I want you to hear that, because what we're dealing with is this type of mentality. Here we go. I fucked your mama last night and she loved it. I fight back. You know what I'm saying? I don't. You know, you can do this all. We can do this all day long. We do it all day long. And I said before about having the last word. You know how much energy you must have, first of all, to troll somebody, as he said, and then to so-called set me up. You can't set me up. I've been doing this shit for years. I said she loved it. So when this happens, it just shows you again the unintelligence we have in this country. Really. To take all that energy to scope me out, dude, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. You ain't got a chance here. You ain't got a chance here at all. You don't have a chance in hell. What's up, Walter? Again, are you going to the Bud Billiken parade tomorrow? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Or you are, is the question. Bud Billiken Day parade. Going back to what I said about the trolls and calls like that. So again, my time working with Jay, when he would get those calls, it's amazing because, again, going back to the mindset of how people are to look at your work, to go back and forth to say, you know what, we're going to try our best to come after him. But again, look how much time you put in energy into the shit you were doing. This doesn't faze me a bit. We can do this all day long. You can call, you can troll, you can do all those type of shits, but it ain't gonna happen. Far from it. Far from it. And again, you're just taking time and energy that could be, productive. He wasn't fooling anybody with that conversation. That was born yesterday. Trying to, throw in the word nigger and stuff like that. Come on, man. See, I want to see how far he would go with it. And of course, he exposed the asshole of who he is and what he is. And I didn't know anything, but I think the conversation about trains was kind of like the setup, I think. Now look, all this energy coming at me, all that energy. That's what you choose to do in your life. All that energy. It's not going to happen. I said what I said. I got the last word. So fuck you. I you know what I'm saying? I'll say it again. Fuck you, man. That's it. You know what I'm saying? And some people would try to back off of that, but again, this is not going to happen here. I'm sorry. And me personally, that's when you're onto something. When other people who traditionally would not go near your show, all of a sudden want to try to, knock you off your square. It ain't happening. Let's see. So I was saying before about people like Ben Wilson, who, again, was a classic phenom basketball player and just great. Just fantastic. So what can I say? It's an amazing part of your life that you knew someone who was on the verge of greatness. And I mentioned before about watching the video of the ESPN original. So it always gets to a point with me where it makes me sad for that. Always will. But it also gives me hope for people to rise above that. Ironically, the white racist bastard, or I don't know if he was white or not, but whatever, the racist bitch that I was talking to was talking about gun violence. That's why we was going with the whole thing, but on a serious note about gun violence, because that's how my man Benji was shot and killed. That type of violence can always somewhat be eradicated, but when you're dealing with that type of mentality of taking a life, and then throughout the years for me, seeing how other lives been taken out as well through unfortunate gun violence, it does make you think, will the world get better? I love that you let these low wattage callers think they're slick. They don't start off. Yeah, well, they like what do you say here? What do you say, slick? Like they don't start off with capital R. 2025 is a garbage dimension. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff, for the kind words about that. Yeah, it really means a lot to me. Thank you so much, Jed. I could touch on that again, and the reason why I do is because I do believe in free speech. I do not. I really believe. I do not want to censor people. That's who you are. That's who you are, and that's who he is. He is just an asshole. That's all. And most people like that think that they're the smartest person in the room. In reality, they're not. They're the dumbest ass people in the room. Period. Completely devoid of any brain cells whatsoever. I get a kick out of it personally. I do. Why? Because I like to expose people who they are. I've always been that way. If you keep on yapping the way he did, like I said before, he thought I was brand new. I ain't brand new to this shit. I've been doing this shit for 30 years. I won't call it shit, but you get my drift. Working in terrestrial radio. You knew who you were about to talk to, just the way the setup of the conversation was. Kind of like you butt up the host, you do your research, you talk a certain way to feel as though you're not a threat. Now, working terrestrial radio, we had a 7-second delay system where we could dump the caller and the audience never knows. But I have no dump system here. So I don't mind the person or who they are or what they are exposing who they are. And again, exposing the fact that you're pure great asshole. And it's not cool. Incest is not cool. Because apparently, again, like most of these inbred people, and I caught the inbred shit you said earlier. That's if you're still watching and listening, you punk ass bitch. That obviously his mother and father were brother and sister. They're out there. And when your parents are brother and sister, you get quote unquote Rob from Florida. All right, Rob from Florida. Hey, you're the inbred, doc. And we are out of here. Always thank you so much. Shout out to Pastor Donovan Price, not feeling well. He couldn't come on today. I got the text during the show. So we wish him the best of health as we continue to move forward. Always wanted him to be great. We want him to be well and occupied to continue what he's doing. So shout out to Donovan Price for getting some rest. He needs some rest and take care of yourself a lot that he goes to. So thank you, Donovan Price. Of course, thank you to my man George L. Cook III with his comments every second and fourth Friday right here on BaseLine. And and thank you, Rob from Florida, for showing how ignorant your ass is. Because to me, you're the one exposing who you are and what you are and things of that nature. Keep them coming. Keep on coming. I like to fight. Keep it coming. I love it. Go tell all your inbred friends. I ain't hard to find. I'll fight all you motherfuckers and come out on top. You got the wrong one. I dare you. You couldn't bust a grape in a fruit fight. And don't call your brother and sister. Don't call your mama who you're literally, and don't call your mother or father. Don't call anyone and don't run to them. Don't do it. Oh, we're about to get out of here, but I'll take this call because it's him. What's up, Walter? How you doing? You going to the Bud Billiken Day Parade tomorrow? Hold on. Let me do this real quick. Hang on. Let me try now. Okay, you there? Hold on. What happened here? Let me try something. Hold on. Let me try something here. Okay, say something now. Hold on. What's this thing? Okay, let me try something. Hold on. Bluetooth, that works. Okay, I don't know why it's not going through the phone here. Oh, let me try this real quick. I don't know why it's not doing it. Okay, let's do this. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I was just asking, are you doing a live remote tomorrow?
No, I'm not. No, I was just asking the same thing. I know you don't do live remotes. So I was asking, will you be attending the Bud Billiken Day Parade tomorrow?
Well, I won't be, but I didn't know if you was going to be broadcasting live or doing a special show tomorrow.
Well, hold on a second. Didn't you work in radio? You know how radio works. Why you won't turn your radio down or monitor down?
Is that better?
Excuse me. Yeah, that's much better. So yeah, we don't want to hear us in the background. I want to hear you. So okay, no, I'm not doing a live remote, but I was just asking, are you going? So you won't be going tomorrow?
Yeah, 95 degrees tomorrow.
Okay, I don't blame you. I don't blame you a bit. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So you're not going tomorrow because it's 95 degrees.
Just thought you was going to be there tomorrow. Sorry, man.
No. I'm not going to be there, but I thought you would be there in attendance.
But I just really called, asked about Jesse, but Jackson, but never mind.
Okay.
Hey, you make it a great weekend, man.
Hey, you too.
Didn't know, if you was going to do something special. It's going to be a lot of kids out there tomorrow, up and down the street.
That's right.
Thought you was going to support us, but
I support anybody just sitting in this chair right here. So I'm good. I'm good. You're good, and that's what makes everything special. So we're all good.
I would support Jesse as well, but never mind.
All right.
But I'll talk about Jesse. Have a good weekend, man.
You have a good weekend too. You stay cool. Take care.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. So let's see. So as I was saying, we're about to scatter. Once again, thank you, Walter. Thank you, Phony Rob from Florida. Again, thank you, Donovan Price. And thank you to George L. Cook III. And he's right. The Bud Billiken Day Parade is tomorrow. And yeah, sure, I haven't been to one of those parades in years. I was in a parade with them once a few years back when I was working with a guy named Radical Allen Wright for his internet station, and we had we didn't have a float or a car, but we had a ride, obviously, to ride in. It was actually pretty nice. It was pretty nice indeed. So those of you who may not know, the Bud Billiken Day Parade has been going on for a lot of years on the south side of Chicago. It's usually a promotion, of course, to help children with the attitude of going back to school. And started by the Chicago Defender. And so, yeah, it's changed over the years because I used to watch on TV. It used to be locally here on WGN Channel 9 with the Superstation, so a lot of people saw it from coast to coast. And then also aired locally on here on Channel 7, ABC 7. So you see that, and yeah, that was nice. It's changed over the years because a lot of celebrities used to be a part of the Bud Billiken Day Parade. It's kind of taper off over the years, and then it goes from there. But good stuff, good memories. So yeah, if you're going out there, please be careful of the sun. Put some suntan lotion on you want to get tanned up, or put some sun protector on you as well. Yes, we're African American, we get burned too. Okay, we're black, we get burned too. You don't want to get crispy out there. So put some put some lotion on there to protect yourselves. Stay hydrated, and make sure you have a good time. Continue to be safe. Continue to be sound. Continue to be healthy. Most importantly, above anything else, continue to be loved. Long live the peace. Long live the funk. More power to you. As always, in parting with all of you, make sure that you always keep your head up.